Hello, hello. Hey everybody, this is the Noontime Prayer Chapel for First Congregational United Church of Christ, and you might notice that I'm in a slightly different location today. I'm actually up in the pulpit. I'm not going to be preaching to you. This really is Prayer Chapel, but we're once again testing out our Facebook live broadcast ability. I know that you've all been very patient. We're asking for a little bit more patience. It's a complicated system. A lot of it has to do with our Wi-Fi. We have equipment and we have some setting issues. So we're trying to figure it all out. And that's why we are testing Prayer Chapel here in the sanctuary today. So I get to be way up here. I have discovered some interesting things like this Yoda Best Pastor mug and some other things. So bear with me. The other thing I'm going to ask today is that normally when I do Prayer Chapel, I have my phone right in front of me, so I at least can pretty regularly check in on the comments. It'll be a little bit more lag time because of the way that we are doing this test broadcast. It does show me here on my little screen that we have a few people, so welcome. Welcome everyone that is participating in Prayer Chapel either live now, we're hoping, watching later. So let's begin. One of my friends this morning had early in the morning, posted a happy birthday message to her 16-year-old son. And the message really was for him. And at the end of her message, she wrote, "Remember who and whose you are." Maybe you've heard that phrase, or maybe it's something that you say to your own children. I remember when I was in Lay Academy, our leader had said that she used those words. Her name is Debbie Payton, Reverend Debbie Payton. She would say those words especially when her daughters were in middle school. When she dropped them off at school, her last words besides "I love you" were, "Remember who and whose you are." I don't know. What about you? Maybe our question for the day can be something that you said to your kids before you sent them off to try to have them remember something. A lot of times, just an "I love you," or maybe it's "be safe." I can remember my mom so often saying, "It's cooler near the lake," because we would be going in driving over to Lake Michigan. And those words actually translated into "I love you," just in a little bit different way. Well, I do love that phrase, though. Remember who and whose you are. And I've been thinking perhaps those are words, even though my stepdaughters are grown and out of the house, I wonder if they might be words that we actually say to ourselves when we leave the house, to remember who and whose we are, especially as people of faith, as people who hold in our hearts and remind each other that we are God's beloved, and to remember as children of God to love each other and to love our neighbors, of course. So I'm going to try now to check my phone and see if I've got any comments coming in or any prayer requests today. Whoops, and now I'm getting me. So this might not be working. I will try to check again in just a second. Well, serendipitously, I turned into I always read a number of ministry and devotional sites every day, and one I read often is called Ministry Matters. And just so happens, and I'm telling you this, that I opened it up and there was a devotional called "Remembering Who You Are, that was written by Pastor Jake Owensby. And I thought that I would share that with you today because it does seem like maybe that's the message I was needing to hear. So, and maybe you do too. So, Pastor Owensby writes, "My friend R said, 'Before long, I won't remember who you are. I won't really remember who I am.' For over 40 years, I've called R to catch up and stay connected. Who he is has shaped the course of my life. He was a gifted teacher dedicated to nurturing not only his students' minds, but also our souls. I was drawn to, and I try to emulate, his kindness and down-to-earth graciousness. He possessed a contagious faith that expressed itself in laughter, in humility, and a lively curiosity about life's deep, abiding questions. Our singular gift was to pass on that curiosity. Instead of giving us answers, he taught us to be stretched by the questions, to be swept up by the wonder of our very existence. An infinite mystery lies at the heart of all things. Not only are there things that we do not yet know, there is the unknowable. Our finite minds cannot fully grasp it. We embrace that mystery by opening ourselves to it. About a year ago, R told me that his doctor had diagnosed him with middle-stage Alzheimer's. In a matter of months, he would probably descend into that cruel disease's late stage. When I called him a few weeks later, R shared the story with me again, as it for the first time. Later, he told me, 'Before long, I won't remember who you are. I won't really remember who I am.' His tone conveyed neither self-pity nor bitterness, neither resignation nor hopelessness. He spoke those words tenderly, as if from a place of peace. He was softening the blow for me. That was so R. He cared about the impact that this news would have on me. But he was doing something more, something also very much in keeping with R. He recognized a teachable moment. He saw that his disease, a disease bent on the most ruthless kind of identity theft, gave a new poignance to and opened a new perspective on one of life's enduring questions. Who do I say that I am? You see, R's thinking had been shaped by existentialists like Soren Kierkegaard and Albert Camus and Jean-Paul Sartre. They believed that a meaningful life involves being true to yourself. To be true to yourself, you have to know who you are. Each time we confront dilemmas or challenges, struggle with disappointments, or navigate heartache, we will either be true to ourselves or betray ourselves in what we do and how we do it. Since R and I are both Christians, we share a common framework. You may not be Christian, but I hope you'll hang in there with what I'm about to say. Not because I'm trying to convince you to take up my faith tradition, but because I think that there's something in that stretches across a range of spiritual experiences. What R was inviting me to consider is this: even as R loses sight of who he is, I will remember. Sure, I've never known him exhaustively. Much of who he is remains a mystery to me. But my love for him, as him, helps him to continue to be him. I'm reminded of a question that Jesus once asked his friends: "Who do you say that I am?" From Mark 8, chapter or verse 29, who do you say that I am? As I hear it, Jesus was not giving his followers an orthodoxy litmus test. He was telling them something like this. If you can see that I am the one who loves you no matter what, you're going to get a sense of who you truly are, the beloved. When we remember that we are the beloved, we respond to the world in love. And this is the crucial bit. We all forget. At one time or another, we forget that we are the beloved. And so we need each other. Our love for each other reminds us who we really are, beloved, the beloved. But more than that, sometimes we need the love of others to carry us until somehow, by grace, we come back to ourselves at last. Some lovely words from Pastor Oversby today about that question that we think about who we are and whose we are. And I love that idea that sometimes it's our friends and our family who love us that reminds us when we cannot see it that we are God's beloved children. And we remember, too, that we may be doing that for others. We might be reflecting that back to others. Whoops. Okay. I am going to... I cannot seem to see your comments, and so that puts us in an awkward spot a little bit because Prayer Chapel, I like to be able to respond. So I'm just hoping you're with me today, and what I'm going to do is I'm going to finish up here with a blessing, and then I'm going to go back and I will read all of your comments and respond to them when I'm no longer on live. If you've just tuning in, we're doing a test run again to make sure that we are really trying to make sure that our Sunday worship will be both here in the sanctuary, but also broadcast live on Facebook Live, and it will also be recorded. And so we're just testing that out at Prayer Chapel today. But the downside to that for me today is that I'm not able to check your comments without hearing my own voice in a lag back. So I apologize for that. But I will check the comments later. So I wanted to... I'm doing the prayers on Sunday, and our congregation has a long list of folks to be praying for. So I want you to keep lots of folks in mind that are recovering from surgeries, those that are in long-term treatments, folks that are in mourning, folks that are lonely. And I know that you're maybe listing your own special prayer requests. And I'm hoping that the community that is watching this live is keeping those prayer requests too. So I did want to close today with a blessing I am sure I've read to before, but it's such a beautiful blessing. I think we can all hear these words again. It's by Jan Richardson. If you enter into the wilderness, do not begin without a blessing. Do not leave without hearing who you are. Beloved, named by the one who has traveled this path with you. Do not go without letting it echo in your ears. And if you find it is hard to let it into your heart, do not despair. This is what the journey is for. I cannot promise this blessing will free you from danger, from fear, from hunger or thirst, from the scorching of sun or the fall of the night. But I can tell you that on this path there will be help. I can tell you that on this way there will be rest. I can tell you that you will know the strange graces that come to our aid only on a road such as this, that fly to meet us, bearing comfort and strength, that come alongside us for no other cause than to lean themselves toward our ear and with their curious insistence whisper our name. Beloved, beloved, beloved. Amen. Remember who and whose you are. I'll see y'all soon. Goodbye.